All right, I have Mr.
Chad Ward.
Chad Ward here, the owner of One Way Plumbing. And Chad's been doing the group interview now for how long? When did you first start?
About a year and a half ago.
A year and a half ago. And what did you first think of the group interview before you actually did it?
It was actually intimidating. You know, you're going to have a lot of people all focused on you, but in the long run, it saves so much time, and they want to impress you, and they start battling to kind of be better than the other person.
You mean the rest of your team does?
Well, in the group interview. The rest of the team, yes, they always have that in the back of their head that he's doing a group interview, so they can be replaced. So you can see they feel a little uneasy about it, which is good because they do well for the next few days until next week's interview.
And how did you hire before you learned this process?
One at a time. One interview, one person. We scheduled it during a convenient time for both of us, and it always took 2 hours on my day, or they wouldn't show up, or it was a nightmare.
What would you tell someone, especially another plumber, because there's a national shortage of plumbers, right? And every plumbing company that we work with, they say, hey, I have a hard time finding people. What would you tell another plumber or anyone else that's resistant towards a group interview?
That's fine. You can be resistant, but you still should do it anyway. Try it.
Alrighty.
Before we started the group interview process, interviews took a ton of time and we had no formal process.
It always took 2 hours on my day, or they wouldn't show up.
I was very skeptical of it. I didn't think people would show up to it.
My first thoughts were, this can't possibly work.
I was reluctant at first, just because it seemed awkward, it seemed strange, it was a new idea.
Life before the group interview was chaotic and stressful.
It was crazy, wasting 70% of my time that I scheduled for interviews.
After the group interview, I would say 1 out of every 5 I've actually hired, and I've saved myself a lot of time, a lot of money.
We actually have cut our interviews to a fraction of the time, and we have a formal process that makes us feel confident.
Instead of now scheduling out individual interviews, all I have to do is schedule one time, one day a week that I'm going to do group interviews.
Every week, we consistently have people come to that group interview, but we don't really worry about it because it's every week.
It takes a lot of stress out of trying to have good workers.
In the long run, it saves so much time.
I've hired 2 great employees.
It saves time, it saves energy. We are able to sort through candidates very quickly and easily.
With 18 people coming in and only about 3 of them standing out, I saved all that time and not having to meet 15 other people.
We would have the opportunity to interview 15 people in 45 minutes, which would save myself money and my team hours.
We will have anywhere from 8 to 15 people every week say that they will be there and RSVP, and 1 to 3 will show up every week.
Having the group interviews has drastically improved my business. My employees are no longer holding me hostage.
We were able to hire to replace.
Some pressure on the people who are here to realize that their jobs need to be done well, or someone else will be doing them.
They know that, hey, if I don't perform, there is someone else ready to step into my place.
You want to continue to have that short list so that you have somebody ready.
We need to get on the group interview train immediately. It's been a game changer for us.
I highly recommend using the group interview process.
Gosh, man, time flies. I'd say right around 4 or 5 years ago. I just kind of felt like we were stuck, and my wheels weren't moving, and I had this goal, and I just didn't really know how to get there. So you guys actually helped me with that. And, I reached out to you guys. We started our relationship. We started our coaching sessions, and you guys helped me build a lot of the systems that we have now. But, Clay, had I not actually sat down and took the time and the energy to reach out to you and then set aside time every single week to actually work on the specific goal of scaling Window Ninjas, then it would have never happened, and we wouldn't have it wouldn't have come to fruition like it is today.
Gabe Salinas, welcome on to the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
I am wonderful, Clay. I'm glad to be here with you today.
And just to give people a little context, how long have we worked with you in your business, sir?
A little over 3 years, Clay. We've been together for a little bit of a journey now.
And I think we picked the best of times and the worst of times to work together. I mean, it's like right at the peak of the geopolitical craziness. That's when we started working with you. But you've continued to grow. What kind of growth have you seen over these past 3 years? Just so the listeners know that you do have, in fact, a business that can navigate through difficult times.
Well, we have over doubled our business here at Window Ninjas since working with you. I actually went back and looked through our numbers, and I looked at some of our goals that we had set in the original conversation that I had with your team. And we have surpassed my original number that I wanted to hit with you guys. And I was quite shocked at how, I won't say easy, but systematic it was for us to be able to get to where we wanted to be.
So my name is Daniel with Daniel's Heating and Air. Having the group interviews has drastically improved my business. My employees are no longer holding me hostage. We have group interviews every Wednesday, and we bring in the best people with the best attitudes and just willing to work and be part of our team. And if they're the people that we currently have are not holding up their end, we let them go, and we bring the next people up. It's been a great process.
All right, Dr. Breck, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you, Clay?
Doing great. You're a chiropractor.
I am.
How long have you been a chiropractor?
Going on 16 years now.
Rumor has it last week you went on a vacation, or 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
A vacation. And I think you told me when you got back you were able to hire a new manager.
Yeah, we've gone through the process over the last 2 weeks.
Okay, and talk to me about the group interview and how you use that and how it helps you.
Yes, we made a post on Indeed just before we left on vacation.
Yeah.
And when we got back, we had about 200 responses. We've had about 250 total responses.
For what position?
For an office manager position.
Really?
Yeah, about 40 hours a week. Not great pay, to be quite honest. About $14, $15 an hour position.
Yeah.
But it's critical to our office and what we do. But we had a big response, and so I invited 25 applicants at a time to come in and do a group
So 25
interview.
people you interviewed all at the same time?
Well,
you
I invited 25.
How many
About
showed up?
12 of those would respond with an RSVP, and then as many as 9 showed up. Most of the cases, it was 3 or 4.
Of the 25 candidates, 12 responded.
Yeah.
And RSVP'd, hey, I'll be there.
Yeah.
But 9 actually showed up.
Not, yeah, as many as 9. Some were smaller groups, but some.
And how of those 9 people, how many were hireable in your mind?
Of the 9, I mean, we had like 8 sessions of that.
Yep.
But and those went pretty quickly, quite honestly, quicker than I expected them to. But we probably got it down to 6 or 7 that were legitimate quality candidates. And so I actually had 5 come in and shadow.
And before you were doing the group interview, what were you doing? How were you finding people before?
I would have filtered through all of those resumes and probably interviewed 35, 40 people one-on-one.
So you would have had 35 hours of your time spent interviewing people one-on-one?
Yeah, it would have taken weeks.
What would you say to a guy or a woman or a man watching this video, a business owner, who is saying, I don't want to do the group interview because...
I was reluctant at first, just because it seemed awkward, it seemed strange, it was a new idea. But definitely worth it. Definitely worth it.
Would you say you're kind of being a knucklehead maybe if you don't do the group interview?
Well, yeah, I mean, especially if you have a position you need to fill.
Yeah.
But even if you don't have a current position, for me, I found that once a week might have been a little too much, but if you're doing it once a month, it's not going to be too much. You want to continue to have that short list so that you have somebody ready and waiting.
Final question. I know you got to head to a meeting.
Yeah.
When you first heard about the group interview, what were you thinking about it?
When am I going to have time to do that was probably the biggest thing.
Okay.
That seemed like a big waste of time, but once I had a position that I need filled, it was a huge time savings.
Hey, you're having a great hair day today, by the way.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hey, I'm Ryan Wimpy. I'm originally from Tulsa, born and raised here. I've definitely learned a lot about life design and making sure the business serves you. The linear workflow for us and getting everything out on paper and documented is really important. Like we have workflows that are kind of all over the place, so having linear workflow and seeing that mapped out on multiple different boards is pretty awesome. That's really helpful for me. The atmosphere here is awesome. I definitely just stared at the walls, figuring out how to make my facility look like this place. This place rocks. It's invigorating. The walls are super, it's just very cool. The atmosphere is cool. The people are nice. It's a pretty cool place to be. Very good learning atmosphere. I literally want to model it and steal everything that's here at this facility and basically create it just on our business side. Play is hilarious. I literally laughed so hard that I started having tears yesterday. And we've been learning a lot. which, you know, we've been sitting here, we've been learning a lot, and so the humor definitely helps. It breaks it up. But the content is awesome, off the charts, and it's very interactive. You can raise your hand. It's not like you're just listening to the professor speak, you know. The wizard teaches, but the wizard interacts and he takes questions, so that's awesome. If you're not attending the conference, you're missing about 3/4 to half of your life. You're definitely, it's probably worth a couple $1,000s. So you're missing the thought process of someone that's already started like 9 profitable businesses. So not only is it a lot of good information, but just getting in the thought process of Clay Clark or Dr. Zoellner or any of the other coaches, getting in the thought process of how they're starting all these businesses, to me, just that is priceless. That's money. Well, we're definitely not getting upsold here. My wife and I have attended conferences where where it was great information and then they upsold us like half the conference, and I don't want to like bang my head into a wall, and she's like banging her head into the chair in front of her. Like, it's good information, but we're like, oh my gosh, I want to strangle you. Shut up and go with the presentation that we paid for. And that's not here. There's no upsells or anything, so that's awesome. I hate that. It makes me angry. So glad that's not happening. So the cost of this conference is quite a bit cheaper than business college. I went to a small private liberal arts college and got a degree in business. And I didn't learn anything like they're teaching here. I didn't learn linear workflows. I learned stuff that I'm not using, and I haven't been using for the last 9 years. So what they're teaching here is actually way better than what I got at business school. And I went what was actually ranked as a very good business school. I would definitely recommend that people would check out the Thrive 15 conference. The information that you're going to get is just very, very beneficial, and the mindset that you're going to get, that you're going to leave with, is just absolutely worth the price of a little bit of money and a few days worth of your time.
I'm Rachel with Tip Top Canine, and we just want to give a huge thank you to Clay and Vanessa Clark.
Hey guys, I'm Ryan with Tip Top Canine. Just want to say a big thank you to Thrive 15. Thank you to Make Your Life Epic. We love you guys, we appreciate you, and really just appreciate how far you've taken us. This is our old house, right? This is where we used to live a few years ago. This is our old neighborhood. See? It's nice, right? So this is my old van and our old school marketing, and this is our old team. And by team, I mean it's me and another guy.
This is our new house with our new neighborhood. This is our new van with our new marketing, and this is our new team. We went from 4 to 14, and I took this beautiful photo. We worked with several different business coaches in the past, and they were all about helping Ryan sell better and just teaching sales, which is awesome, but Ryan is a really great salesman. So we didn't need that. We needed somebody to help us get everything that was in his head out into systems, into manuals and scripts, and actually build a team. So now that we have systems in place, we've gone from 1 to 10 locations in only a year.
In October 2016, we grossed 13 grand for the whole month. Right now it's 2018, the month of October. It's only the 22nd. We've already grossed a little over 50 grand for the whole month, and we still have time to go. We're just thankful for you, thankful for Thrive and your mentorship, and we're really thankful that you guys have helped us to grow a business that we run now instead of the business running us. Just thank you, thank you, thank you times 1,000.
Hey guys, Seth with Tip Top Canine, Oklahoma City here, and I just wanted to talk about group interviews for a minute. We've been doing group interviews actually since we started our location out here, and I did it previously in Tulsa with the Tulsa Tip Top Canine location, and it's been awesome. But I do remember before with other places that I've worked, the interview process was hard because you're spending tons of time trying to figure out okay, who's a good candidate and how many people, to interview in the week, and taking tons of time out of your day to try and find really good candidates, and then generally most of them don't pan out. And so it's really hard without it. We've been doing them, for quite a long time now here at this location, and it's been amazing. Because we don't waste time. We do it once a week, every week, and if we have people, when the people show up, we interview them, we vet them right there, and it makes it 10 times easier for us to find good candidates. For example, in the past couple months, we've had 313 people interested in working for our company. So we responded to them and invited them to an interview. Out of the 313, we've had 20 people come in for interviews, which is ridiculous. And then out of the 20, we've only had 2. That means in just a few months, out of 313 people, we have less than 1% that we actually hired. So imagine going through all of them all by yourself, just trying to figure out who's going to be a good fit, and having to interview multiple people, and and then most of them don't show up, wasting your time. So this has been just such a really good process, and we're going to do it forever. It's awesome. So that's a little bit about how we do our group interviews. So thank you.
We're here with Aaron Antis, the head honcho marketing director over at Shaw Homes. Am I right?
That's correct.
That's David Robinson. That's not actually the real David Robinson, but that's a cardboard cutout in front of the box that rocks. Aaron, can you share with everybody about how the group interview has impacted Shaw Homes, and what your first thoughts were when you first heard of this diabolical hiring process?
Well, my first thoughts were, this can't possibly work, because I need to read a lot of resumes and make sure that they have all the correct education and background, and that they've done a lot of sales or whatever it is I was hiring for. I wanted to make sure they had all of those things in their resume. And so I spent endless hours reading resumes and then calling and having a phone interview, and then I bring them in for a one-on-one interview.
How often did people not show up for the interview?
Probably about 40% of the time they would not show up.
So per week, maybe 10 candidates, and maybe only 60% of them would actually show up?
Correct.
So now, how many people show up for the group interview? How many people? Let's say this. How many people say they're going to show up, and then how many actually do show up each week?
So I can give you the description of last night.
Yep.
So we had 58 people that we invited.
58.
28 of them said they were coming.
Got it.
And 12 of them showed up.
So 58 said they were going to come.
Yep.
And then 28 showed up.
58 we invited.
58 we invited.
Said they were coming.
Got it.
And 12 showed up.
So only 12 of the 28 that said they were going to be there did show up.
That is correct.
Of those 12, how many showed up on time? Do you remember?
All 12 of those showed up. I actually should say 14 showed up. 2 of them, we had locked the door when it started, and so they didn't come in. So we had 12 actually show up on time.
Okay, so 12 showed up on time. And of those 12, how many of them are the kind of people that you could hire?
I would say 2.
And then what were maybe a couple reasons why you would not hire certain candidates, where you're just like, these 10 out of these 12 are absolutely not hireable?
In our invitation to come to the interview, which we don't tell them it's a group interview.
Yeah.
But in the invitation, we said, dress to impress, bring something to write on and something to write with.
That's a lot to ask.
So the lady who showed up in her house coat and flip-flops probably isn't going to qualify.
Harsh.
The person with all the facial piercings
you're not into that?
Tattoos coming up to the
Shaw's not going goth?
neck doesn't work in our environment.
Oh, okay.
Nothing against it. It just isn't for us.
Absolutely.
So,
nothing against Marilyn Manson. We just don't play it in the background.
Yeah, exactly. The person who had trouble forming sentences to ask a question at the interview,
that's
probably
tough.
not going to do well in a sales presentation format. So that person.
Final question for you: how many, if you can share, how much sales did you do last year of homes at Shaw Homes?
About $62 million in sales.
Where would you be if you didn't have these new people working for you in the group interview? Where do you think you'd be?
I would be held hostage by a couple of prima donnas who want to tell me how to do everything and want to argue with me and fight with me about what exactly we want done as a company.
If I'm watching this and I'm going, I don't want to do the group interview, I don't want to do it, it all sounds so good, but I just don't want to do it, what would you say to me?
I would say you're freaking crazy and you need to get on the group interview train immediately. It's been a game changer for us.
Oh man, you're looking good, brother. Let me get closer. All right, take care.
Hey there, it's Steve Currington with Total Lending Concepts, and Clay asked me to do a quick testimonial about how the group interviews helped our business. So we are a residential mortgage company, and we operate in several states, and we hire everything from people that are making 10 or 12 bucks an hour part-time in our call center, all the way up to underwriters and all the way up to loan originators or mortgage bankers that work for our company. And what we used to do is we would collect resumes. We'd put out an ad. We'd collect resume, and then we would interview for 3 or 4 days. And then, it was very frustrating because I had to shut my day down to do interviews, and then half of the people didn't show up, and it was just very frustrating. So we started doing the group interview, and we actually did that in conjunction with Thrive. So it's been very helpful for us to have Clay and his team do that. And now, every Wednesday at 6 o'clock, we have an ad that runs consistently every week. It's the same ad. The position we hire the most for is for our call center. And every week, we consistently have people come to that group interview, but we don't really worry about it because it's every week. We haven't changed the ad in a year, probably. The ad's the same. We still have applicants. We email them when they come and we invite them to the group interview. We have one administrative person that does that, and then we show up to the group interview. And if we like them, we have them come shadow, and then if we like them after shadowing, then we hire them. And that saves me countless hours of interviewing, because the other crazy thing is we will have anywhere from 8 to 15 people every week say that they will be there and RSVP, and 1 to 3 will show up every week. And so imagine if I had set up interviews with 15 people and set aside time for myself to sit down and meet with them, and then only 3 of them showed up. Very frustrating. And that's why we don't do that anymore, and that's why we do the group interview. Thanks to Clay and the team there, we've been able to perfect it, I think. So, and we're going to keep doing that. We just keep doing it forever. Never change it. See ya.
I love that we do group interviews here at the Laundry Barn. My life has become so much easier. Instead of now scheduling out individual interviews, all I have to do is schedule one time, one day a week that I'm going to do group interviews, and then everyone's expected to show up at that time, and if they don't show up, I haven't wasted a lot of time. Whereas before, when I did individual interviews, I would schedule people, and a lot of the times they would not show up, and I would have already prepared, and it wasted a lot of my work day. Another thing I love about the group interviews is that they're all right there at the same time with each other. So I can compare the way they answer questions and the way they react to certain things that the other people have said or I have said, and it makes it a lot easier to remember who really stuck out. Whereas before, when I would do it all day long, I would tend to forget a lot about the people from the beginning of the day. This has made it a lot easier to pick who is a strong candidate and who's going to be an A player here at the Laundry Barn.
My name is Elizabeth Walker. I own a business, Nook and Cranny Homekeeping LLC. I was looking to learn pretty much anything there is to learn about business. I'm a new business owner, less than a year. So I really needed to know everything about everything. I have learned how to implement systems, from hiring to the actual day-to-day systems in the company. I like that the workshop gave tangible systems, but it was very entertaining and interactive. Clay's presentation style was energetic, it was exciting, and it gave me hope that there's actually a lot of success still to be done in my business. The atmosphere was energizing, invigorating, nothing boring about it. It was absolutely exciting. Maybe that's the biggest thing I've learned, is that this can be simple, and I think that's what they're missing out on. My name is Elizabeth Walker. I'm the owner of Nook and Cranny Homekeeping. I first heard about Clay on the radio on 1170 KFAQ. I was just switching through the radio stations and I heard them talking and they were kind of funny, so I hung around a little bit. Clay's team has impacted my amount of internet leads through Google, and we just have people calling us almost every single day saying they found us on Google. So it's definitely broadened our horizons and our clientele, but we also have people that find us in other avenues, and I always direct them to our Google reviews. The typical interaction during our weekly meetings is fun, it is accountability, it's an hour of hard discussions and a lot of learning. We try to laugh. I always share concerns I had during the week. The team always asks me what I need help with, and then they help put me back on track where I need to be. Every business owner needs Clay Clark and his team because they put a path out in front of you, a proven system of success, and then they coach you along the way. They don't do it for you. They don't hold your hand. They just stand right beside you. They cheer you on. They share with you what you need to hear, whether it's good or it's bad or it's what you want to hear or it's what you don't want to hear. Every business owner needs that accountability next to them, that proven person next to them that can keep them going. Most people think that they don't need a business or marketing consultant because human nature tends to say we can do it all, and sometimes we believe that, or maybe people are prideful and they don't want to ask for help, or I'm not really sure. I believe that one of the smartest things I've ever done in my whole life, definitely in my business, is hiring Clay Clark and his team. Somebody is missing out on years and years and years of experience if they don't hire them. You can either make mistakes in your business because you don't have the experience, so you just go out there and you make mistakes. Or you can have somebody next to you that has been there, they've done that, and they can give you a heads up. You're going in the wrong direction. Or they can give you just that wise advice that says, maybe you should go in this direction. That's what they're missing out on. They're missing out on years of experience that they have not gleaned themselves.
Hi there, my name is Stephanie Pipkin. I am 24 years old and I own Black River Falls Cleaning Services. We opened in April of 2019 and it is now mid-June of 2020. So I wanted to talk today about the success and growth I have achieved by implementing the Proven Path with Clay Clark's team and my business coach Luke from Thrivetime. It has been insane to say the least. I started working with them in mid-February of this year, so we're about 4 months in of working together, and it has completely transformed my business in pretty much every facet. So I'm gonna check my notes here. So in 4 months, my leads have tripled. I was getting probably like 2 leads a week. Now I'm getting more in the like 10 to 15 leads a week. I have doubled my number of employees. I'm now hitting the highest revenue weeks in the history of the company, week to week it seems like. We went from about 6 appointments today as our highest in February to now 14 to 15 appointments a day. And hiring quality employees has become much simpler and less stressful by using their systems for hiring. I typically only get maybe 2 complaints a month, if that, and everybody shows up to work. I just have really high quality employees now, especially in something people typically consider a high turnover type of work, you know, cleaning houses, cleaning businesses. I have amazing employees now, and I get rid of the ones who are not so amazing and bring on new ones because of, you know, group interviews and interviewing every single week. It's just been great, and such I don't waste as much time on low quality candidates anymore. I have successfully gained our second largest commercial client, and this was during COVID. So again, I started working with Luke and Clay in February, and then COVID hit in was mid-March or so. So for the entire month of April, we were shut down residential, April and May, I believe. And so despite that, and again, being a new business and all this stuff, I mean, we came out of COVID like stronger than ever, and now hitting our highest numbers in the history of the company. It just leads just piling in, and the beauty is when people call us, they're already sold because of our Google reviews, our online presence, the no-brainer offer that we now give to our clients, which is, you know, if they book their second appointment within a month of the first, they get 50% off. And again, they're just ready to book. I hardly have to do any work, it feels like sometimes, to actually book people. So that's amazing. Every week I meet with Luke, and it's awesome. Obviously, I'm in Wisconsin, he's in Oklahoma, but we have a great time. I know I can text him at any time, call him at any time with any issues I'm having, especially when COVID did hit. They were so helpful in helping me get the PPP grants and everything settled away there, and really pushed me to make sure I was on the ball and getting all of the grants that I was possibly able to, which was amazing. So they've just been such a wealth of information, and when I'm freaking out because, you know, a burning fire is happening, Luke's there to calm me down and, you know, back me off the cliff edge. And it's just awesome to have him, you know, as a resource there. So every week we meet and we have a big tracking sheet. So we track all my leads, we track my numbers, where the leads are coming from, any complaints. I love my tracking sheet. I know it's probably a little extra, but I love it because I can see everything that's actually happening in my business. And this is so important because it's not like I'm just saying, well, I feel like it's busier. I know if it's busier, and I know, are we making a profit every week? Why or why not? It's just amazing. And then I'm tracking my Google reviews, tracking my competitors' Google reviews, and Luke is always pushing me to get more reviews, even though, you know, I was not very comfortable with that at first. It felt just pushy, but now I'm seeing the effects of having a lot of Google reviews. You know, a lot to me at least. It's not very high compared to others, but people are finding us on Google and they're already ready to book because of our reviews. So, you know, going for those reviews has been so integral in having basically easy sell leads. So tracking has been just so vital, and I really enjoy it, actually. So anybody who is skeptical about working with Clay or Luke, you know, the whole team at Thrivetime, I was definitely skeptical, and to me, again, new business, it seemed like a lot of money, but in comparison to other business coaches, especially like specific to the cleaning industry like I'm in, I mean, you're talking like $10,000 a month, and honestly, I feel like I get like that much value out of Luke just by meeting with him once a week. It's amazing, and it has just transformed my business in every single aspect. I mean, I always, you know, aspired to be a successful business owner, and now, I mean, it's not even a question that this business is going to be successful, even if a pandemic happens and you have to shut down. I mean, if I can make it through that and directly because of them, it is absolutely because of them. Obviously, you know, I'm a hard worker, blah, 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 all that. And, you know, I was made to be an entrepreneur. However, having them as like the guiding light of this is what you need to do, and it's very straightforward, doesn't mean it's easy, but it is very straightforward of what needs to be done. And I like that. I like having that step-by-step process, and I love having the accountability, because there's a lot of stuff that they have me do that I don't want to do. It's not fun, but it works. And that, you know, having that discipline to just do the things week after week, regardless if it's dull or boring or you don't want to do it, Luke really pushes me to do those things, which I love. I mean, I hate it at the time, but I love it because I can see how it's affecting my business in a positive way. And, you know, I don't want to be just good. I want to be the best. And I see them as an integral part of that. And I will not be the best if I don't have them with me. So I love having them on my team, and it just feels like the best decision I ever made in my business. And I know I'm still really small and things like that, but there's a reason I reached out to them when I was small, because I want to be big, and I want to not grow and then collapse because I grew too quickly without the correct systems in place. So it's been amazing, and I would suggest anybody who's willing to put in the work and do things that make you uncomfortable, reach out to them. But if you are not willing to change the way you are doing things, if you're not willing to implement a no-brainer, if you're not willing to ask for Google reviews, if you're not willing to write content, really, really boring content for your website so the Google bots find you, then don't reach out. You need to be willing to put in the work as well. And your coach will hold you accountable. I mean, which I love. Again, the tough love is really great. You know, Luke's like a stern father figure, but he's also nice, but also stern when he needs to be, when I'm being lazy and not doing the things that I know I need to do, because I don't want to do them. So that's just great. Worth every penny. I mean, I'd pay him $1 million a month if I can, and maybe someday I'll be able to, but I would just say go for it. If it seems like a good fit, just go for it. Do what they say, even if you think it's stupid or ridiculous, just do what they say because it'll work. You know, people, when they look at my business, you know, people in my town, they think I'm lucky. They think I'm just, you know, things just happen for me. And, you know, maybe I am lucky, but it has a lot to do with hard work and, you know, perseverance and, you know, working till you cry sometimes. That's just being an entrepreneur, which if you're a business owner, you understand that. But it's having these systems in place of, you know, of course I'm going to be successful. It's an absolute because I have all this stuff in the background happening, and I have Luke and Clay and everybody on their team working really hard to make sure that I'm a success. And I can tell that they are just so excited every single week when I'm having all these wins and things like that. They're so excited for me. So it's the best thing ever, and I would suggest to anybody to work with them. So sorry for the long-winded reply, but I just had so much to say, and I could go on for hours probably about how amazing they are. But thank you to Clay and Luke and the entire team there, everything you guys have done for me, and I am so excited to continue to work with you for years to come.
My name is Joe Burby. My company is Back to Basics Builders. We've been doing the group interview now for about 4 months. Before we were doing the group interview, we would hire somebody and they would quickly burn out. They wouldn't be working. They'd be on their cell phones a lot of the day. We even had an employee steal from us. It was a pretty awful situation. And then when we lost an employee, we didn't have anybody to replace them. But since we've been using the group interview, things have completely changed. We interview a group of 1 to 4 people every week, and out of that group we generally get at least one person that we call and let them know that we are interested in bringing them on and they're ready to come on when we have an opening. We just recently had an employee give us his notice, and we were able to call somebody right away and bring them in for a job shadow and then an interview so that we could fill that empty position right away. The group interview has completely changed our business, and we really appreciate the help that Clay Stairs' organization has given us in bringing it into our company.
Hello, my name is Guy Shepard with Shepard Automotive in Oklahoma City. Life before the group interview was chaotic and stressful. I was at the mercy of employees who were either underperforming or would leave when I needed them most, and then I've got to try to figure out how to get their jobs done. Since implementing the group interview, I feel in control of my business again. I feel the stress level is a lot lower. I have access to top talent when I need it, and it also gives me leverage over current employees. You know, they know that, hey, if I don't perform, there's someone else ready to step into my place. So I love the group interview, and I am going to continue to do it every week.
My name is John Cook, and I'm the owner of Quality Surfaces, a countertop company in Spencer, Indiana. Before the group interview, we would interview a few people, pick out the best one of those few people, and that was sometimes spread out over a few days. And then a large percentage of the time, even if we hired one of those people, it wouldn't work out. So after the group interview system, so we had used a temp employment service and some employment services to get quality candidates in here. And they charge a premium over the first 600 hours, which adds up to about $5,000. Now with the group interview, I'm saving $5,000 every time I pick my own employee, and it takes a lot of stress out of trying to have good workers. You know, it's kind of not as hectic, and it really works a lot better in the long run.
My name is Levi Gable, and I'm the owner of Gable's Excavating
in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So before the group interview, I was wasting a tremendous amount of time. I'd usually schedule an hour for every candidate and have 30% of them show up. So it was crazy, wasting 70% of my time that I scheduled for interviews. Since then, I'm interviewing 20 to 40 people every week, and although that's still approximately 50% of the people that actually said they would be there, I'm saving all the time that I would have spent on people that didn't show up and allocating an hour to everyone that isn't worth any time at all.
Hi, my name's Randy Andrikin, and I met Clay Clark about 2 months ago at the first conference that I went to, and I learned about the group interview. And I own a business here in Oklahoma City, and we started implementing that group interview from the very get-go, and I immediately saw some really good things happen. It freed up my schedule, number one. Once I was able to do that, I was able to really look at better people. I was able to spend more time on getting them to come in, and I cleaned up a lot of my descriptions and job postings, and through all that, the group interview happened, and I've saved so much time because half the people haven't even shown up, and then the people that did show up, I was able to weed through them pretty quickly. And after the group interview, we do the shadowing process, and that even further, almost all of those I would have hired on the spot, and after the group interview, I would say 1 out of every 5 I've actually hired, and I've saved myself a lot of time, a lot of money, and I'm very grateful for having that group interview process, and we use it every week now.
Alrighty, so what is your name and what is the name of your business?
My name is Kevin Thomas, and I'm the owner of Multi-Clean Commercial Cleaning Services.
You bet you are, Kevin. Okay, so what was it like before, or what was your life like before you started doing the group interview?
Before we did the group interview, we would interview everyone in the office, and it would take up to 15 hours to interview 15 people. And after we started doing the interview, it would take us 45 minutes to interview those same 15 people. And usually within the first 15 to 20 minutes of the group interview, we would recognize what we call our A players. We would recognize 2 to 3 A players. And so we would have the opportunity to interview 15 people in 45 minutes, which would save myself money and my team hours.
Nice. So how has doing the group interview process helped your business?
It's helped us because it saved us hours, saved me money. It lets us nail down a good candidate for the position immediately and not having to wait a week and a half to get to a good candidate.
Nice. Now, did you ever get any pushback from your current staff when you wanted to start implementing the group interview?
They did. There was initial pushback, but once we implemented and did it, we hired 2 people recently.
Nice.
And 2 of those people still in the office. And the pushback was it was uncomfortable, but I did all the speaking, all the talking, and now they love it.
Nice. Now, to date, what's the record number of job interviews that you have, let me back that up. What is the record number of people who said they would show up to an interview versus the people who actually showed up?
Our record is we had 27 said they were going to be there and 4 showed up.
Nice.
So that saved me 23 hours of wasted time.
Oh man, you're the man. Now I'm going to squish your head. All right.
Hi, I'm Stuart Weichel, owner of Accolade Exteriors in Austin, Texas, and my life before doing the group interview in my business was kind of just seat of the pants, chaos. My approach to recruiting was just sort of catch as catch can, whoever came along, and the group interview has helped a lot by, for one thing, bringing a lot of just a rhythm and a cadence and a discipline to the fact that I need to be recruiting always. So I've always got that going on because it's ingrained, it's scheduled, and it just is part of the way we do things on an every week basis. So there's a rhythm to it which keeps it going. And also it's helped just finding people. It's a way of attracting enough opportunity people wise to the company that you've got resources. The human resource is there. And I'm a small company, so I don't have a huge staff, but everybody is critical. And so having a steady stream of people coming here with interest in the company that I'm interested in finding, it's an opportunity to replace, so that we're not caught flat-footed if somebody does leave or something happens to somebody. And it's also some pressure on the people who are here to realize that their jobs need to be done well, or someone else will be doing them. So it's all good stuff, and I really am appreciative of the teaching on it, because I'd just be doing the same old corporate kind of recruitment that I'd learned to do in corporate America, where you get the HR position open and you get candidates who are fed to you, and then you schedule all these interviews, and it takes months to find the right person. And it's not efficient and not a good use of our time. So I highly recommend the group interview. It really is a good thing.
Hey, it's Jason, and I want to brag on the group interview. We are a small retail store in Central Alabama with 5 employees, and the group interview is the only way to hire. I have friends that complain about not being able to find good employees. I don't have that problem. I use the group interview. It saves time, it saves energy. We are able to sort through candidates very quickly and easily. I highly recommend using the group interview process.
Hey, my name is John Kelly from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Before the group interview process, we didn't really have a process for hiring, but every time we needed to hire somebody, it just felt like an impossible task. My initial pushback to the group interview process was my concern over how, potential job candidates would take it. And to this point, after interviewing over 100 people, we haven't found anybody that hates it. They all actually love it. In most cases, we have people call in an hour or two after their interview, hoping that they got the job just because they like our culture and they like the feel that our company has. I think where it's really helped us, we're able to save a lot of time. We can interview 12 to 13 people in about a 45-minute window, where that could take up to 12 hours the traditional way. I think the main area that's helped us, though, is we're able to find the right person for the job the first time. We've hired 4 people using the group interview process, and 3 of those guys are still with our company, and they're a great fit.
Hey, it's Dr. J here in Nashville, Tennessee. So the Thrive crew asked me to do a video about my experience with group interviews. And, group interviews is something that I fought for a long time. I've been with Thrive for 2.5, 3 years now. And honestly, until recently, it's something I just didn't want to do. I just couldn't make myself do it. But we finally implemented it 4 or 5, 6 months ago. And almost right away, it paid dividends. We had a key member of our team take a position somewhere else, and at that point in time, we've been doing the group interviews for about a month. So we were able to, we already had a list of good candidates that we hadn't hired, but we knew if something happened like this, we could bring them on. So almost instantaneously, we were able to hire to replace. And it was almost like the universe telling me, this is what I was supposed to do, as an example as to why you do group interviews. So for me, I kind of think of it as an insurance policy at this point in time. I'm no longer held hostage by my employees, because I now have a stack of good candidates to replace anytime I want. So if someone's not performing or doing what we're wanting them to do, we can fire and not worry about who do we hire next, how long is it going to take to replace. So if you're thinking about group interviews, I hope this helps. I know it's a hard thing to pull the trigger on, but I can assure you if you do it, you will be happy that you did so. Thanks, and good luck with it.
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas, and soon to be Arkansas. We have probably grown 5 times. We've added, I think when we first started with you, we had 60 to 65 employees, and now we have a little over 300 employees. Before we got involved with Thrivetime, we didn't really have any systems or processes in place. So I've probably been to, in 6, 7 years, I've probably been to 12 to 13 business conferences, and
amazingly, each time I go, I learn something new, and I'm so excited to bring it back and show the team about marketing and how to implement, how to help you guys implement the SEO. And the coaching is just great because there's accountability, and it's just a fantastic way to grow your company. Having a relationship with Thrivetime it's just been amazing for MultiClean. Oh my goodness, it frees me up because then I don't have to take a class on search engine optimization or learn marketing or shoot video. That's not what we do. What we do is commercial janitorial service. And you guys were the experts on marketing, and you teach me and hold my hand and show me how to do it right. And therefore, now my company is much, much larger.
Folks, on today's show, we're joined by a real client. He may look like a male model. He may look like a hologram, but he's a real person. He's a longtime client. He's a man that we consider to be a friend of the Thrivetime Show and a friend of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Kevin. Welcome onto the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
Clay, I'm doing great. Had a great Christmas holiday, and I'm glad to be here.
Okay, so first question, can you tell us what is your name, first and last name, and what's the name of your company, sir?
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas and soon to be Arkansas.
And how long have we worked with you approximately at this point, sir?
It's been about 6-7 years.
And, so many people reach out to me. I mean, literally every day. I just talked to a woman this morning. We get 10 to 20 people a day that reach out wanting to see if we can help them grow their companies. And we only work with 160 clients. And I do that because I want to only work with people that are super coachable. And so this woman on the call today was asking me, she said, well, what's the most important thing that you do, that you have to do to grow your company? And I was telling her, I said, that's kind of like asking a skilled chef, what's the most important ingredient to make great cookies? Is it flour? Is it eggs? Is it butter? It's like asking a home builder, what's the most important component to building a house? Is it the footings? Is it the frame? Is it the concrete? That's like asking, it's a great question, but really it's all of it. And so I really wanted to talk to you today about all of it, implementing all of it, growing MultiClean, how we've been able to do it. So first off, could you share what it's like to have a coach that works with you every week who's committed to helping you improve your business by 1 or 2% every week?
Well, Andrew is my coach, and the great thing about having him as the coach is he keeps me accountable. Because sometimes when you're the owner, there's no one to be accountable to. And he keeps me on track. He keeps me tracking sales, tracking wins. If we have a loss, he helps me figure out what happened. He just keeps me being consistent with our processes, with our systems, which before we got involved with Thrivetime, we didn't really have any systems or processes in place.
And in terms of growth over these past 6 or 7 years, I'm not looking for you to share the actual sales totals because you're a larger company at this point. But could you share how much growth have you had over the past 6 or 7 years?
We have probably grown probably 5 times. We've added. I think when we first started with you, we had 60 to 65 employees, and now we have a little over 300 employees.
So just to be clear, I'm making sure I'm taking notes here. You've grown 5 times, and you've grown from how many employees to how many employees?
About 60, 65 to well over 300 in that time frame.
So let's unpack all the specific aspects of business growth. And I'm going to pull up a document so our listeners can see. What's your website we can go to right now to look at while I'm pulling up this source document? What's your web address, sir?
The website is MultiClean, just like it sounds, multicleanok.com.
multicleanok.com. Okay,
Yes.
I'm going to pull this up. And as I pulled up this source document, many people say, Clay, why do you pull up these documents? Well, contrary to popular belief, most successful people that I know use workflows, they use documents, they use checklists. We don't typically memorize things. And a lot of times people say, what? I say, yeah, as a business owner, like, I'm not going to try to impress you with my memory, but I am going to teach you proven systems. And so when somebody goes to implement these business systems as a coach, we're going to guide you through all of these processes. But it is, there's a lot there to it. There's a lot of steps. It's step 1, it's step 2, it's step 3, it's step 807. It's a lot of steps here. And so as we're going through this, I don't want anyone to feel overwhelmed, but I just want people to understand it's implementing all of these systems simultaneously that produces the success. So first off, establishing your goals. I'm not trying to have you hop on today's show and share what your goals are necessarily, but let's start with step 1. Why is it important for everybody out there to figure out clearly what your goals are?
Well, Clay, it's important to have goals. Otherwise, you wouldn't really know. You wouldn't know where you're going. You wouldn't know if you reached a certain level of success unless you have a goal that you're going for. And plus, those goals, for me anyway, they keep me motivated to grow my company, to grow my employees, to better my employees, and also to make my family stronger and better as well.
So we have those goals. That's step 1. We got to have those goals. Goals for our faith, our family, our finances, our fitness, our friendship, our fun. And some of us are better in certain areas. Some of us need help in other areas, but we got to have our goals. Second, we got to determine our break-even point. And I think that's something that a lot of business owners don't know. So I'm just going to be very clear with our listeners and kind of bare my soul. But, when we work with a client like you, we charge you $1,700 a month and we make a 20% margin. So we make $340 a month per client. I know what my costs are. Kevin, you know what you pay me. It's very clear, my profit margin. Most business owners, though, when we start working with them, they don't know their break-even point. Could you share why it's important for you as an owner of a company now with 300 employees to know your break-even point?
Well, it's really important because you don't know if you're making money. And you need to know what your margins are going to be. You need to know what your cost is so that way you can take your profit and then turn that around and pay your overhead, pay your employees, and most importantly, is to pay yourself. And because if you're not paying yourself and if you're not making an income, then the business is pretty much dead.
And again, I'm taking notes here. If it sounds like I'm typing a novel, I'm not. I'm just taking notes so everyone can really dial into this. So now, box 3, you have to know how many hours a week you're willing to work. Now, one thing about you, bragging on you, is you're willing to do whatever you need to do, but you're also super committed to your family. So again, I repeat, you're very willing to do whatever you need to do, but you're also committed to your family. So we're recording this testimonial today on a Saturday, and virtually every entrepreneur I've ever met in my life, and I don't say virtually, every entrepreneur I've ever interviewed in my life on this show, we've interviewed billionaires, multimillionaires, all of them are no stranger to working on Saturdays. Can you talk about that, about just being realistic with yourself and your family, about how many hours per week you're actually willing to work?
Well, as the owner, you have to be willing to work whatever it takes. Whether it's 8 hours or 15 hours a day. Since we've been in business for 31 years, we have a fantastic team right now. And so my hours have cut down. So I'm actually able to spend more time with my family because I have such a fantastic team and we have fantastic processes. But as a new owner, you just have to do whatever you have to do to get it done. And eventually it will get easier. Not much easier, but it will get easier.
Now we move on to this next box. You have to know your unique value proposition. Now, as a coaching platform, what we try to do is work with wonderful clients like you to help you stand out in the clutter of commerce. And one of the things that I found out about your business very quickly is you had a long history of running your business. I mean, you weren't a startup. You had a long history of success. And so I was telling Andrew, hey, we need to document all of Kevin's testimonials. We need to gather them in one place. We need to start getting Google reviews, objective Google reviews from real clients. We need to do that because, and I'm not, this is not a backhanded compliment. You had a very good business, but you guys had not documented your client successes over the years. You didn't have video proof that you guys did a good job. You didn't have documented testimonials. You did not have objective Google reviews that matched the quality you provided. Can you talk about the importance of documenting your actual client testimonials and gathering those objective reviews?
Absolutely. That's really huge in our growth. The fact that we are the highest and most reviewed commercial cleaning service in the entire state of Oklahoma is a very important thing. And it just shows proof of who we are when we get Google reviews. Also, when we do video testimonials, it's real people giving real testimonials. It's not super professional. It's just a real person giving a real review about how they feel about multi-clean. And it's just been a huge help to our business. When people, they get online, they look for a commercial cleaning service, and usually they go to the maps page. We're right there all the time, and usually we get picked to give someone a quote. And that's been really instrumental in the growth of multi-clean.
And again, this is not an event. This is an ongoing process. And every week we're gathering objective Google reviews, objective video reviews. And again, that's one of the ways you stand out in the clutter of commerce. The next is the branding. When a lot of times we meet a business owner, Kevin, and their website is in disrepair. Their website needs help. So I think about clients that we've had tremendous success with, brands like Shaw Homes. When we started working with Shaw Homes, by the way, Shaw Homes was just sold, but we started working with Shaw Homes. They were around $14 million a year of sales, and we helped them to grow over 150 million in sales. So just to be clear, we helped Shaw Homes grow from 14 million in sales to over 150 million in sales. We work with wonderful brands like OxyFresh, where OxyFresh today now has over 550 locations. And branding really is just the perception that people have when they see your company for the first time. Branding is your website, your print pieces, your logos, your business cards, your one sheets. Branding is the perception people have when they see your business for the first time. And I would encourage everybody out there to self-assess yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, 1 being the worst. How highly would you rank your branding? Kevin, can you talk about the impact that's made having professional branding working for you?
Absolutely. Branding is pretty key in the commercial janitorial service, because there's a lot of startups that are very cheap and don't really offer much service. When we show up, everything that we do is professional. Our card looks good. Our proposal looks good. We have a team here that continually communicates with the customer or potential customer. And so having that brand that this is a professional company, we have a lot of respect out there amongst our competitors and amongst our clients as well, because we have that. The quality name goes with multi-clean, and that's very important in this industry.
Now, again, there's somebody out there who needs to hear this. We've been working together for years, and every week, you're growing every week we're improving the company, in my opinion, by 1 or 2%. So at the end of the year, you say, what did we do? Well, we made the company 50% better. Every week we're improving the company by 1 or 2%. Well, what are we talking about? At the end of the year, you've grown the company. At the end of the 5 years, you've grown the company. At the end of the 6 years, you look back and go, wow, we're 5 times larger. What do you say to somebody out there that's looking to get rich quick, somebody who's looking for the one thing that will turn their business around and make them rich tomorrow? What would you say?
I would say give it up on that idea, because there's no such thing as it's more like get rich slowly. That's the only way to be successful is take your time, do it right, be patient, be a man or a woman of integrity, and make good decisions for your company, and just do it right.
Now, step 4, I'm going through this methodically, folks. Step number 4, you define your unique value proposition. Got it. Okay. Step 5, you improve your branding. Step 6, you have to come up with a 3-legged marketing stool. And with your business, we have clearly defined a 3-legged marketing stool. What does that mean? A stool with 3 legs is stable. A stool with 1 leg is going to fall over. It's probably not even a stool. It's more, at that point, it's sort of a monopod. But you have to have a 3-legged marketing stool. So for your company, we have 3 things that we do, and there's some other things we do too. But one is we really, really focus on search engine optimization by gathering the most objective reviews, writing original content, gathering video testimonials. Second, Dream 100. That's where you reach out to your ideal and likely buyers consistently. You reach out to your ideal and likely buyers. And third, you're wowing your customers to the point that you're generating word of mouth. The word of mouth is becoming, you're intentional about wowing your customers, thus it creates word of mouth. Could you talk about the importance of having a 3-legged marketing stool for anybody out there that has a 1-legged marketing stool or no intentional approach to marketing at all?
Well, Clay, the nice thing about the 3-legged marketing is that we learned that from you at Thrivetime. We didn't really know what we were doing. And so when we joined up with Thrivetime, we started doing the SEO. We got our website in order, got it all cleaned up so that when people search for commercial janitorial services, they find us. Also, when they do find us, we're top in Google reviews. And then also with the Dream 100, we have a database in our Excel and HubSpot that we're continually going to and making cold calls. And the important thing about all that is that you can't just rely on one. Maybe one day one's doing well, the next day and next month another one's doing well. So it's circular. At one point, one of them is always going to be doing well to help your company grow.
Now, once leads come in, you have to actually sell something. And this just in, if we don't sell, our business will go to hell. You know that. Most of our listeners know that too. But I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that have a bias. They think, if I have a great idea, it'll sell itself. If I build it, they will come. And they think that because they've watched Field of Dreams. They think that because they've watched too many Ty Lopez videos. They think that because they've watched Get Rich Quick videos about ClickFunnels and various other online, I call it scamockery, but it's where someone's trying to get rich quick. And I would just tell you that if you build it, they won't come. And a product is so good, it still won't sell itself. You have to get out there and work it. And so to do that, you have sales scripts, you have recorded calls for quality control, you have one sheets, you have pre-written emails, you have lead trackers, you have all of those things in place. Could you talk about the importance of having intentionally scripted calls and intentionally recorded calls and just being intentional about every aspect of your sales process?
Absolutely. We're intentional with all that with our sales scripts. We have two ladies that are inside sales and they're continually calling. They have a fantastic script that they use. The one sheet that we use, we give it and it compares us to other services. And actually that was designed by you guys at Thrivetime, which has been very helpful. And then our lead tracker, which Andrew and I go over each week, we kind of look, because I don't see all of the leads that come in, but we go over the lead tracker and I'm able to see from beginning to end when the lead came in, where it is it in the bid process right now, and did we get it or do we not get it? And if we didn't get it, that goes into another file for a follow-up call in 3 to 5 months. And if you don't have all those in some kind of a process, you're just going to lose all those potential leads.
I hope that this broadcast can change somebody's life. Now, in part 2 of today's show, I am going to do a show specifically about how if you have a great idea, it won't sell itself. And you're going to, the part 2 of the show is going to start off with Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, there's old video footage of Steve Jobs telling you, the viewer, telling me, the viewer, that, hey, a great product will not sell itself. And it's powerful when you hear from other people who are actually achieving success, who did achieve success. I encourage everybody to pay attention and take notes because we're trying to help you achieve massive success. Step number 8. You have to know how much money it costs you to acquire a new customer. You have to determine your sustainable acquisition costs. So just today, I talked to a wonderful lady today. I'm going to talk to a wonderful young man. I say a young man, a guy in his late 30s. I'm going to talk to a man in his late 30s today. I talked to a woman this morning who's super successful. And I know that whether they buy a ticket to a conference or not, or whether they become a client or not, Kevin, I know that our marketing costs to promote our conferences hover around $12,000 a month. What? Yeah. So I spend about $12,000 every month to market our business conferences. Why am I telling you that? Well, folks, do the math. If we have a conference every 2 months, so every 60 days, right? And we're spending $24,000 to promote a conference, and we're doing a conference every 60 days approximately, how much money does it cost me for every person who's in attendance? So let's just kind of do some math for a second. I want to give people some real examples. So if I'm spending $24,000 this month or over the next 2 months on promoting a conference, and we sell a total of 300 tickets, that means it's $80. It costs me $80 per customer, per conference attendee. And I'm not talking about the food we serve, Kevin. I'm not talking about the Eric Trumps, the Robert Kiyosaki's, the Tim Tebows that come in to speak. I'm not talking about any of the workbooks we give the attendees. I'm just talking about the cost to get in front of our ideal and likely buyers. It comes out to about $80 per ticket buyer. And I think if you ask the average entrepreneur, I know this because I've been doing business coaching for 20 years, the average client I talk to, the average potential client I talk to, they do not know what it costs them to get a new customer. Can you talk about that for a second? Why is it important to know how much money it costs you at MultiClean to get a new customer?
Well, Clay, it's really important because you have a sales team, you have an outside sales team, inside sales team, and you have overhead costs along with startup costs for us. We have to start up with new equipment and all kinds of equipment to do the building. The bigger the building, the bigger the startup. So it's very important to nail that down on what it costs. Sometimes I have to rein in the team and say, okay, we can't buy all this brand new, this equipment, that equipment for this account. Thankfully, most of our startup costs are recouped within the first 3 to 5 months of starting a contract with a customer. But it's very important to know that. Otherwise, you're just not. At the end of the month, you're like, where'd all my money go? So it's very important to know what that cost is.
Folks, I'm telling you, this is the kind of stuff they don't teach at business school, but they should. Okay, so here we go. The next is this has been stuff we have to do. We have to, box number 9, step number 9. We have to create repeatable systems, processes, and file organization. Now, so many people, what's interesting to me, Kevin, is so many of our listeners, they know about Dr. Z and the auto auction, or they know about me in the dog training business, or they know about me in the haircut chain, and they go, Clay, did you grow up, like, was your dad like the Zoellner? Was your dad really into hair? Is that how you got going? Or they'll go, Clay, or are you and Dr. Z really into cars? Do you have like an automotive background? Or they'll say it's Z66AA.com. And Dr. Z, full disclosure, just did sell that business. So it's now switching the branding over here to America's Auto Auction, okay? And by the way, the company that bought his auto auction bought it because it was successful. People look up Make Your Dog Epic. They go, did you have a dog training background? People look up Dr. Zoellner and Associates. They go, is that because you guys are in love with the human eyeball? And then what happens is people are left to think, are you successful because of luck? Or have you, Clay, and Dr. Z been able to combine to build, 14 multi-million-dollar companies because you're lucky? Because of your vast knowledge of the human eyeball and hair, dogs? Or is it because you're following a proven process? And that's what I want to hammer home into everybody's cranium right now. Everybody can do this, Kevin, but you've got to follow a system. What do you say to somebody who says, I just don't know if I can do it? What would you say?
Well, I would say that before we had a relationship with Thrivetime, I don't even think I knew what a process meant or what a process was. So the coaches there have helped me put in some great processes in place to track sales, to learn about, we have a software called HubSpot that you're familiar with, Excel, and we have another software called HighRise that we use, and it tracks all of our customers day by day. And without that, we would be lost and floundering so poorly. But because of these processes in place, we're doing so well. It's all out of my brain because that's where it was before. And now it's not. Now it's in paper. It's on our server so that we can draw to it each week, and that really helps in our growth and the flow of the whole company.
And I want to greatly respect your time. So the final 5 minutes we have here, we're going to kind of crank up the speed a little bit here. But box number 9, we've created repeatable systems and processes. We've documented these things so we can improve them over time. Box number 10, we've created management systems. I mean, what people on your team will do what jobs? What? Think about it, folks. If you have a company, what are you expecting your employees to do every day? What people on your team will not do their jobs, and what jobs are people doing well? What? Think about the people on your team. What are they supposed to be doing on a daily basis? And what are they not doing on a daily basis? What are they being held accountable for? And at the end of the day, Kevin, if you don't have checklists and documented expectations and some sort of merit-based pay, nothing's going to happen. Why do you have to take the time to make the checklists and the processes and the description of what you want employees to do and have some sort of merit-based pay system in place?
Well, if it's not documented, then they won't know what to do. And also, if it's not documented, it's really difficult to rely on all the employees to just think on their own. They need some help. They need time to focus and to get things done. That goes all the way from the lady that welcomes everyone in, all the way up to our general manager, even to me. We have to have documented expectations.
This is so powerful, folks. I'm hoping you're learning something. I'm telling you, folks, this is the boring stuff that will make you rich. You see, when the average person gets bored, the great clients, they board down. What am I saying? When the average person gets bored, the most successful people, they board down. You see a skilled athlete, you see a successful entrepreneur, they have focused on mastering these systems. They have focused on mastering their craft. People like Larry Bird, the great NBA player, people like LeBron James, people like Michael Jordan, they practiced to the point that they couldn't get it wrong. You don't practice until you can get it right. You practice until you can't get it wrong. And that's why you have to document these systems. Box number 11, you have to create a sustainable schedule. You have to have a schedule. Kevin, if you're not doing the group interview, let's say every week, if you're not interviewing potential client or potential employees every week, if you're not interviewing potential employees every week, and you're not having your weekly accountability meetings with your team, what's going to happen if you don't have a predictable, repeatable schedule in place?
Well, nothing's going to happen. That's the key. Having the group interview has been great. We just hired a salesman in our Oklahoma City office to the group interview, which was fantastic, and also in Tulsa as well. But just having those sustainable schedules in place is just great for the growth of the company.
Now, Kevin, I've got a wonderful client. I'll be very vague. They're based in Florida, and they were telling me, they said, Clay, I have a vacation coming up in California. And I said, that's great. They said, no, it's terrible. I said, why is it terrible? They said, I haven't been doing the group interview consistently, and I've kind of delegated that to somebody in my office I don't really know what they're saying. I just know that the group interview, I'm not involved in the process. And I'm just looking at my calendar, and if we go on this trip to California, we're going to have some problems. What do you say to somebody out there who's abdicating their hiring process or abdicating their sales calls? I say abdicate. They're not delegating. Delegate means to assign and then to follow up to make sure it's done correctly. Abdicate means to just say, well, someone else is handling it. What do you say to somebody out there specifically that is abdicating their hiring process, the group interview process, the process for recruiting employees?
Well, I love to be involved in all the group interviews. And usually whenever there's a group interview, there's anywhere from 4 to 12 people. And the great thing about it is that within the first 5 minutes, you know the 2 or 3 that you want to keep. And so that saves me so much time, because interviewing 12 people takes 12 hours. Interviewing 12 people in a group interview takes about an hour. And I love that. I love saving time. I love saving money like that, where I'm not having to spend all day interviewing people that may or may not even show up. And it's just great. And I highly encourage owners to get involved in the hiring process. Group interviews are very successful, and encourage you to do that.
And now, again, so many people can hear this stuff and they go, this is so overwhelming. There's so much to do. Box number 12, you want to create human resources and recruitment systems, and we have systems for that. Box number 13, you want to look at your numbers. You have to measure what you treasure. You have to measure what you treasure. And by default, you will slack where this is important. You will slack where you don't track. By default, you will slack where you don't track. And you have to measure what you treasure. I hope this is sinking in for somebody. Casualness causes casualties. I want people to think about these words. Casualness causes casualties. You have to measure what you treasure. You will slack where you do not track. These are all things we're going to teach you. Kevin, we've got to have accountability, though. And so anybody out there, I have a law firm I've used for years, wintersking.com. The reason why I pay them on a monthly basis is I want to make sure that all my filings are correct, everything's being done properly. I have an accounting firm called CCK. CCK, I've used them for years. Over 10 years, actually. And I've used them. And the reason why I pay them on a monthly basis is I want to make sure that I'm paying my taxes on time, properly, that sort of thing. Any area of our life where we want to have improvement, I would argue you need to have a coach, whether it's an accountant, whether it's a lawyer. They have different names. Sometimes they're called a lawyer. Sometimes they're called an accountant. Sometimes in fitness, so many people I know, a lot of this is true. Some of my friends are former pro athletes. And they tell me, they say, Clay, As soon as I retired from my sport, I quit working out. And I go, okay, that's fine. And they go, you know what I did this year? I said, what'd you do? They said, I hired a personal trainer. And I said, what happened? They said, now I'm back in the flow. And I think we all just need to know three things. We need to know what to do. Two, we need someone to hold us accountable. And then we need to have someone who has the tools. Could you talk to somebody out there that's thinking about scheduling a 13-point assessment to talk to myself and our team about becoming a business coaching client?
Well, I remember when I had my first meeting with you, I thought, I have nothing to lose, absolutely nothing to lose except growth. And after that 20 to 30-minute meeting with you, I thought this is going to change the trajectory of MultiClean. And it has. And because the coaching is, they keep you accountable. And like I said earlier, sometimes it's hard to keep owners accountable because they think they know everything and we don't. So I've loved it. I've loved the coaching. I've loved having Andrew keep me accountable. And when sometimes I can't make the meeting, we have phone calls, and it's just been great. It's been good accountability. Even my wife says, no matter what, you're never leaving Thrivetime.
Now, let's say this. Somebody, you know how we live in a soundbite world. So if you could, I won't paint you too much into a corner here, but if you have 30 seconds, and somebody said, Kevin, how has the Thrivetime Show business coaching program impacted your business? Or how could it impact somebody's business? Kind of a 30-second overview or summary. How would you describe the business coaching and how it's impacted your business?
Well, it's given me my why, and it's taught me the importance of systems. It's taught me the importance of family time and the F7 goals that you impress upon me all the time. Because you can be the owner of a company and work 100 hours a week, and then you have no family. And so the Thrivetime relationship I've had now for 6-7 years has done everything to not only improve my business, but improve my life, improve my relationship with my son and my wife. And it's just been fantastic. And I highly encourage, if you're thinking about growing your business and getting out of a rut, to meet up with Clay and all the people at Thrivetime.
Final question I have here for you. I don't know that people know this because I try to keep it secret. I don't try to talk about it a lot, but this is just real. We charge people $1,700 a month. That's what we charge people. $1,700 a month. And people say, why do you charge that? Well, it's a 20% margin. And that's what we do. Now, we have some clients that we partner up with when we make a percentage of the growth. And frankly, I make a lot of my wealth by teaming up with clients and these sorts of things. But when I was building my company, djconnection.com, I remember when I met with the Yellow Page guy, he told me it was going to be $2,500 a month to buy a Yellow Page ad. I mean, this is over 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And that amount was wild, so I got a job at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. That was my get rich system, as I went to work. That was my life hack. I got a job at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. But I think everybody needs a little bit of a hand up, maybe not a hand out, but a hand up. And that's why we make the packages affordable at $1,700 a month, 1700. It's less money than it costs to hire a minimum wage employee. Also, it is month to month, although most of our clients are with us for basically until they sell the company. Our average client is with us for over 6 years. But we do have scholarships. We work with a couple clients a month where if they need help financially, we work with them at a discount. What do you say to somebody who's thinking about coming to our next workshop with Eric Trump or Robert Kiyosaki or Tim Tebow or whatever workshop we have coming up? What do you say to somebody who's on the fence right now? They're going, I'm thinking about scheduling a 13-point assessment. I'm thinking about buying a ticket for an in-person workshop. Kevin, what do you say to them?
I would say do both. I've probably been to in 6-7 years, I've probably been to 12 to 13 business conferences. And amazingly, each time I go, I learn something new. And I'm so excited to bring it back and show the team about marketing and how to implement, how to help you guys implement the SEO. And the coaching is just great because there's accountability. And it's just a fantastic way to grow your company. Having a relationship with Thrivetime it's just been amazing for MultiClean.
I don't know that we talked about it, but we do the photography, video, web, search engine, online ads from a peace of mind perspective, what does that do for you as an owner, knowing that, hey, it's a flat rate I'm paying, and I have a team that handles all of that for me, the graphic design, the photography, the search engine, the web development, the strategy. What does that do for you?
Oh my goodness, it frees me up, because then I don't have to take a class on search engine optimization or learn marketing or shoot video. That's not what we do. What we do is commercial janitorial service. And you guys are the experts on marketing, and you teach me and hold my hand and show me how to do it right. And therefore, now my company is much, much larger.
Kevin, I really do appreciate your time. For anybody in the Oklahoma area, anybody in Kansas, I believe you said Kansas, Oklahoma. What other states are you in now, Kevin?
We're in Oklahoma and southern Kansas, and this in 2025, we are looking to open an office in Northwest Arkansas.
I encourage everybody out there, check out the website right now. I'll pull it up one more time, folks. That website is multicleanok.com. That's multicleanok.com. If you're looking for a commercial cleaning service that you can trust, go to multicleanok.com. Kevin, thank you so much for your time, sir, and hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Clay.
Bye-bye.
One of the things that really hurt Apple was after I left, John Scully got a very serious disease. And that disease, I've seen other people get it too. It's the disease of thinking that a really great idea is 90% of the work. And that if you just tell all these other people, here's this great idea, then of course they can go off and make it happen. And the problem with that is that there's just a tremendous amount of craftsmanship in between a great idea and a great product.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
Okay, Aaron Antis, March 6th and 7th. March 6th and 7th, guess who's coming to Tulsa, Jerusalem?
Ooh, Santa Claus?
No, that's March 6th and 7th.
Oh.
We're going to be joined by Robert Kiyosaki.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Probably the best-selling, or one of the best-selling business authors of all time. And he's going to be joined with Eric Trump. He'll be joined by Eric Trump. So we got Eric Trump and Robert Kiyosaki in the same place. Aaron, why should everybody show up to hear Robert Kiyosaki?
Well, you got billions of dollars of business experience between those two, not to mention many, many, many millions of books have been sold. Many, many millionaires have been made from the books that have been sold by Robert Kiyosaki. I happen to be one of them. I learned from the man. He was the inspiration. That book was the inspiration for me to get the entrepreneurial spirit, as many other people.
Now, since you won't brag on yourself, I will. You've sold billions of dollars of houses, am I correct?
That is true.
And the book that kickstarted it all for you,
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the author, the best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, the guy that kickstarted your career.
Yeah.
He's going to be here.
I'm pumped.
And now Eric Trump, people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. There's not 50 employees. The Trump organization, again, most people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. And while Donald J. Trump was the 45th president of these United States and soon to be the 47th president of these United States, he needed someone to run the companies for him. And so the man that runs the Trump organization for Donald J. Trump, as he was the 45th president of the United States and now the 47th president of the United States, is Eric Trump. And so Eric Trump is here to talk about time management, promoting from within, marketing, branding, quality control, sales systems, workflow design, workflow mapping, how to build. I mean, everything that you see, the Trump hotels, the Trump golf courses, all their products, the man who manages billions of dollars of real estate and thousands of employees is here to teach us how to do it.
You are talking about one of the greatest brands on the planet from a business standpoint.
Right.
I mean, who else has been able to create a brand like the Trump brand? I mean, look at it. And this is the man behind the business for the last pretty much since 2015. he's been the man behind it. So you're talking, we're into 9 going into 10 years of him running it, and we get to tap into that knowledge. That's going to be amazing.
Now, think about this for a second. Would you buy a ticket just to see Robert Kiyosaki and Eric Trump? Of course you would.
Of course you would.
But we're also going to be joined by Sean Baker. This is the best-selling author, the guy who invented the carnivore diet.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Sean Baker. He's been on Joe Rogan multiple times. He's going to be joining us. So you've got Robert Kiyosaki, the best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Eric Trump, Sean Baker. The lineup continues to grow, and this is how we do our tickets here at the Thrivetime Show. If you want to get a VIP ticket, you can absolutely do it. It's $500 for a VIP ticket. We've always done it that way. Now, if you want to take a general admission ticket, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. And the reason why I do that, and the reason why we do that, is because we want to make our events affordable for everybody. I grew up without money. I totally understand what it's like to be in a tight spot. So if you want to attend, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. That's how I do it. And it's $500 for a VIP ticket. Now, we only have limited seating here. With the most people we've ever had in this building was for the Jim Brewer presentation. Jim Brewer came here, the legendary comedian Jim Brewer came to Tulsa, and we had 419 people that were here. 419 people.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, there's no more room. I felt kind of bad that a couple people had VIP seats in the men's restroom. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. But I thought, you know what, we should probably add on. So we're adding on what we call the upper deck, or the top shelf. So the seats are very close to the presenters, but we're actually building right now. We're adding on to the facility to make room to accommodate about another 30 attendees or more. So again, if you want to get tickets for this event, all you have to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. When you go to thrivetimeshow.com, you'll go there, you'll request a ticket, boom. Or if you want to text me, if you want a little bit faster service, you say, I want you to call me right now. Just text my number. It's my cell phone number, my personal cell phone number. We'll keep that private between you, me, everybody. We'll keep that private. And anybody, don't share that with anybody except for everybody. That's my private cell phone number. It's 918-851-0102. 918-851-0102. I know we have a lot of Spanish-speaking people that attend these conferences, and to be bilingually sensitive, my cell phone number is 918-851-0102.
That is not actually bilingual. That's just saying Juan for a one. It's not the same thing.
I think you're attacking me. Now, let's talk about this. Now, what kind of stuff will you learn at the Thrivetime Show workshop? So, Aaron, you've been to many of these over the past 7-8 years. So let's talk about it. I'll tee up the thing, and then you tell me what you're going to learn here, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
You're going to learn marketing and branding. What are we going to learn about marketing and branding?
Oh, yeah. We're going to dive into, so many people say, I got to get my brand known out there, like the Trump brand, right? You want to get that brand out there. It's like, how do I actually make people know what my business is and make it a household name? You're going to learn some intricacies of how you can do that.
You're going to learn sales. So many people struggle to sell something. This just in, your business will go to hell if you can't sell. So we're going to teach you sales. We're going to teach you search engine optimization, how to come up top in the search engine results. We're going to teach you how to manage people. Aaron, you have managed, no exaggeration, hundreds of people throughout your career and thousands of contractors. And most people struggle with managing people. Why does everybody have to learn how to manage people?
Well, because first of all, you either have great people or you have people who suck. And so it can be a challenge. Learning how to work with a large group of people and get everybody pulling in the same direction can be a challenge. But if you have the right systems, you have the right processes, and you're really good at selecting great ones, and we have a process we teach about how to find great people. When you start with the people who have a great attitude, they're teachable, they're driven, all of those things, then you can get those people all pulling in the same direction.
So we're going to teach you branding, marketing, sales, search engine optimization. We're going to teach you accounting. We're going to teach you personal finance, how to manage your finance. We're going to teach you time management. How do you manage your time? How do you get more done during a typical day? How do you build an organization if you're not organized? How do you do organization? How do you build an org chart? Everything that you need to know to start and grow a business will be taught during this 2-day interactive business workshop. Now, let me tell you how the format is set up here. And again, folks, this is a 2-day interactive 15 Think about this, folks. It's 2 days. Each day it starts at 7 a.m. and it goes until 5 p.m. So from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., 2 days. It's a 2-day interactive workshop. The way we do it is we do a 30-minute teaching session, and then we break for 15 minutes for a question and answer session. So, Aaron, what kind of great stuff happens during that 15-minute question and answer session after every teaching session?
I actually think it's the best part about the workshops, because here's what happens. I've been to lots of these things over the years. I've paid many thousands of dollars to go to them. And you go in there and they talk in vague generalities, and they're constantly upselling you for something, trying to get you to buy this thing or that thing or this program or this membership. And you leave not getting your very specific questions answered about your business or your employees or what you're doing on your marketing. And what's awesome about this is we literally answer every single question that any person asks, and it's very specific to what your business is.
And what we do is we allow you as the attendee to write your questions on the whiteboard.
Yep.
And then we literally, as you mentioned, we answer every single question on the whiteboard. And then we take a 15-minute break to stretch and to make it entertaining when you're stretching. And this is a true story. When you get up and stretch, you'll be greeted by mariachis. There's going to probably be alpaca here, llamas, helicopter rides, a coffee bar, a snow cone. There's just...
You had a crocodile one time. That was pretty interesting.
You know, I should write that down, and I can do that.
Sorry for that one guy that we lost.
The crocodile, we duct taped its face so that we duct taped.
No, it was a baby crocodile.
And it was duct tape.
Yeah, duct tape around the mouth so it didn't bite anybody. But it was really cool passing that thing around and
I should do that. We have a small petting zoo that will be assembled. It's going to be great, and then you're in the company of hundreds of entrepreneurs. So there's not a lot of people in America today. In fact, there's less than 10 million people today, according to U.S. Debt Clock, that identify as being self-employed. So if you have a country with 350 million people, that means you have less than 3% of our population that's even self-employed. Yeah. So you only have 3 out of every 100 people in America that are self-employed to begin with. And when Inc. magazine reports that 96% of businesses fail by default, you have a 1 out of 1,000 chance of succeeding in the game of business. But yet the average client that you and I work with, we can typically double this. And this is no hyperbole, no exaggeration. And I have thousands of testimonials to back this up. We have thousands of testimonials to back it up. But when you work with a home builder, when I work with a business owner, we can typically double the size of the company within 24 months.
Yeah.
Double. And you say double? Yeah, there's businesses that we have tripled. There's businesses we've grown 8x. There's so many examples you can see at thrivetimeshow.com. But again, this is the most interactive, best business workshop on the planet. This is objectively the highest rated and most reviewed business workshop on the planet. And then you add to that Robert Kiyosaki, the best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You add to that Eric Trump, the man that runs the Trump Organization. You add to that Sean Baker. Now you might take, but Clay, is there more? I need more. Well, okay, Tom Wheelwright is the wealth strategist for Robert Kiyosaki. So people say, Robert Kiyosaki, who's his financial wealth advisor? Who's the guy who manages, who's his wealth strategist? His wealth strategist, Tom Wheelwright, will be here. And you say, Clay, I'm not going to get a ticket unless you give me more. Okay, fine. We're going to serve you the same meal both days. True story. We cater in the food, and because I keep it simple, I literally bring in the same food both days for lunch. It's Ted Escondido's, an incredible Mexican restaurant. That's going to happen. And Jill Donovan, our good friend, who is the founder of Rustic Cuff. She started that company in her home, and now she sells millions of dollars of apparel and products. That's rusticcuff.com. And someone says, I want more. This is not enough.
Give me more.
Okay. I'm not going to mention their names right now because I'm working on it behind the scenes here. But we've got one guy who's given me a verbal to be here. And this is a guy who's one of the wealthiest people in Oklahoma, and nobody really knows who he is because he's built systems that are very utilitarian, that offer a lot of value. He's made a lot of money in the it's where you rent. It's short term. It's where you're renting storage spaces. He's a storage space guy. He owns what do you call that? The rental,
a storage space.
Storage units. This guy owns storage units. He owns railroad cars. He owns a lot of assets that make money on a daily basis, but they're not like customer facing. Most people don't know who owns the mini storage facility, or most people don't know who owns the warehouse that's passively making money. Most people don't know who owns the railroad cars, but this guy, he's given me a verbal that he will be here, and we just continue to add more and more success stories. So if you're out there today and you want to change your life, You want to give yourself an incredible gift. You want a life-changing experience. You want to learn how to start and grow a company. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go there right now. thrivetimeshow.com. Request a ticket for the 2-day interactive event. Again, the day here is March 6th and 7th. March 6th and 7th, we just got confirmation. Robert Kiyosaki, best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he'll be here. Eric Trump, the man who leads the Trump Organization. It's going to be a blasty blast. There's no upsells. Aaron, I could not be more excited about this event.
I think it is incredible. And there's somebody out there right now, you're watching and you're like, but I already signed up for this incredible other program called Smoke Your Way to Thin. I think that's going to change your life. I promise you, this will be 10 times better than that.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking.
Don't do the Smoke Your Way to Thin conference. That is, I've tried it. Don't do it.
Yeah, chain smoking is not a viable. I mean, it is life-changing. It is life-changing. If you become a chain smoker, it is life-changing.
Not the best weight loss program, though.
Right, really. So if you're looking to have life-changing results in a way that won't cause you to have a stoma, get your tickets at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's Aaron Antis. I'm Clay Clark, and reminding you and inviting you to come out to the 2-day interactive Thrive Time Show workshop right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I promise you, it will be a life-changing experience. We can't wait to see you right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.